You're listening to Morokai Memento. Delve deep into your imagination and experience a fantastical and enchanting journey. If you're willing and able, please support me on Patreon and with super thanks. Now, let's awaken your most passionate desires. All right, class, turn to page 69 and let's begin. Today, we're talking about the medieval torture of gibbeting, or hanging in chains. This was primarily a form of humiliation carried out after death. But some criminals weren't so lucky. There are many types of gibbets, all sort of gallows. Some of the ones I like best are the cages, kind of looking like a big bird cage to lock a person in. And while, as mentioned, it was supposed to be a show of humiliation after death, sometimes criminals were locked in there and left to die by exposure. Those who were locked in the birdcage type ones had a bit of room to move around. But some gibbets were form-fitting, locking you into position, not being able to squat or stretch or move, just hanging there. Some of them also, this is known as hanging in chains. Some of them had the legs separated, making it all the more easy for carrion scavengers to find and pick out what they like best. And some had the legs pinned tightly together. The goal was intimidation and humiliation, humiliating the criminal as other people watched their bodies slowly decay. Often, they were left until just about everything rotted out and they were just a skeleton. Sometimes, though, hanging in chains was the punishment. Can you imagine being placed in a cage, either form-fitted or not, for everyone to look at you, make fun of you, maybe even throw stuff at you? At first you'd hate it. Nobody wants to be made fun of. But then sitting there, standing there, hanging there, being ignored or left alone, you'd soon crave the attention, even just for someone to throw some rotted food at you, someone to say something to you to acknowledge your existence as you slowly lost your existence, because the only way out of the gibbet would be death. At night, it would be cold. The cold, cold iron made by a blacksmith to fit you or to enclose you, ice cold on your body. You'd shiver, unable to warm yourself, or unable to warm yourself very much. So cold, you'd probably wish for the end. But the end wouldn't come yet, because you can last for several days. And as much as you shivered at night, the sun would come out during the day to scorch you, and you would get hot, unbearably hot, as the sun beat down on you for hours. Of course, depending on the time of year, hours and hours in the scorching hot sun, baking your flesh, blistering your exposed skin, making you feel like you were cooking. Of course, like all of these devices we've discussed, in modern days, they've taken a turn to the kinky, as it were, with people confining their loved ones temporarily, usually undressed, and doing God knows what to them, just leaving them on display, taking a sharp object and poking at them to make them dance. Humans have very creative minds, and these forms of play can be exhilarating. You can get high running a marathon, climbing a mountain. You can also get high from being suspended in a cage and left to look at by everyone at a party. And who knows, maybe everyone takes a turn smacking you. That kind of attention can feel really good. Plus, you know that you'll be exciting the people who are doing the smacking. Sort of like how people get excited watching marathon runners. And this is how ancient history becomes modern history. We take something from the past and put an interesting spin on it. Of course, one thing that remains consistent, these gibbets are extremely expensive. So if somebody invests the time and money to have one built for you, you should consider it an honor. Class dismissed.